Look Alive Sunshine. This is Not Every Single. My name's Joe.
And I'm Stephanie.
We're going to do a very, very detailed deep dive today. It may even be our longest video, maybe even a part 1, part 2, on My Chemical Romance's 2010 record, Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys. I believe I got that right.
I think so. That sounds good.
I'm kind of dressed on brand for this episode. What do you think? You like it?
Yeah, it's your cool jacket.
My cool jacket. So this is my favorite MCR record. What about you?
Well, I've only heard like 2 of them, so I don't think it's fair to really say.
I guess, yeah, you've heard this and you've heard Black Parade a lot.
Yeah. I don't think I could choose between the 2 of them at this point. I kind of listened to them equally. We both really got into MCR like last summer.
Yeah, I guess quick context, they were at their peak popularity when I was in high school. And so I really liked all the singles. I never actually had one of their CDs, but like I was 15 when Not Okay came out and Helena. And so like I always thought they were cool. I knew they were from New Jersey and that's where I'm from. So like I liked them, but I was never like digging deep. I didn't have the records. I didn't know the story concepts and all that stuff until now when we're kind of like getting into them again.
Yeah, you worked with a bunch of younger people who were like MCR mega fans. It's a huge thing with, what do you say, like 20-ish year old.
Yeah, it's so cool to see that it doesn't matter that these records were from like when they were like toddlers or something, yeah. But there's still such a passionate, active community and fan base behind this band. It just goes to show like how good the band is, how great it is that they're now back, and sort of the power of like their positivity and their overall message and mission statements,
Yeah.
Also, now we're living in New Jersey, so gotta be into MCR.
I know. Well, there's some great bands from here.
Yeah. Okay, I want to start go way back. I'm gonna kind of go to the end of the Black Parade tour.
Okay.
So from my research, they kind of played Madison Square Garden last, and then the Black Parade tour was over, and Gerard kind of felt like that was all they had to say. That was kind of, they've accomplished what they set out to do.
Like, how do you follow that up?
Yeah, he had kind of planned for 3.
For 3
albums.
Oh, okay. So, but didn't they have more than one album before Black Parade?
That was their 3rd album.
Okay.
Yeah. So they kind of had worked up to Black Parade, knew that was what they were working towards, and it was sort of mission accomplished at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I just sort of not thinking you could ever live up to, first of all, the experience of what that tour must have been.
Yeah.
And how much it connected with people, and then also just making the record itself.
Yeah, it sounds like it was a pretty dark time, and you get this sort of masterwork out of it and go on this insanely long, demanding tour. And at the end of it, it's kind of like, is there more My Chemical Romance? Is there more to say? Are we going to do more? It was kind of up in the air for a while.
Okay.
Then they get asked to do Watchmen, or they do Desolation Row, the Bob Dylan cover. Mm-hmm. And they sort of take this approach of like, it's just this punky rock and roll song, Mm-hmm. And recording that kind of gets them going in that way where they're like, hey, I think maybe we want to just strip it back to basics, maybe do away with the big grandiose concepts and stories and different characters and outfits and just make like a rock and roll record.
Yeah, I definitely get that. And I think also there was a certain probably hunger for a greater respect, because as huge as they were written off by a lot of people for the kind of music they were making, which was just as much rock. I mean, it's very Queen influenced, clearly. But there was just sort of this aura of, that's not real rock. You're not a rock band. You're like a
You're an emo band.
You're an emo band, you're cheesy, you wear costumes. Like all the rock bands, many rock bands wore costumes and did stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, talk about conceptual stories. Is like, would those same people trash Pink Floyd? Mm-hmm. Would they trash Led Zeppelin? You know, the Who's Tommy.
Yeah, it's just sort of like the generational thing too, a little bit of like the things I liked are cooler than the things kids like.
Yeah, and I think those, I mean, even with people that same age, like I said, I went to high school when this was, at its peak, and if you were an emo kid or a scene kid, or at least seen as that, like you kind of could get made fun of, and it sucks. Mm-hmm. And that's like kind of the reality of going to high school back then with the whole emo scene and stuff, is like, yeah, if you were into those bands, like you were kind of a little more at risk. So there was this stigma, which is so dumb and frustrating, especially because we're talking about a band who's like made it their mission to like save kids' lives, and it's like so like anti everything like that.
Yeah, which is actually, it makes sense though, because those kind of kids are the ones who are drawn to that sort of a message, like, hey, there's other people like you, and it's okay to be like this, and you can actually be like amazing and cool and successful, and or whatever you want to be,
Yeah. So that was I see what you mean though. It's like you listen to Black Parade, it's like there's just as much influence of like theater, like you said, Queen and stuff like that, but they kind of like, it's their pinnacle. Where do you go after that?
Right.
So they're stripping it back to rock, back to basics, and there's actually 2 attempts at recording an album. One is with a producer that I hadn't heard of. That's the first attempt. Yeah.
So you don't know anything about what else he produced, or?
No, I actually even forget his name, even though I just read that write-up. But yeah, credit to someone on Reddit who just did a really long write-up about the whole background here and these failed recording attempts. So then, those don't work out. They're not too happy with them. They bring in Rob Cavallo.
From what I read, okay, so yeah, they had this producer, and I don't, there's probably like differing stories or whatever, but like the label was so unhappy with what was happening. And I think the band too, they were like, this doesn't have really what we want. It's just not like, it doesn't have the passion in it and the soul that the other things. And supposedly the label approached Rob Cavallo.
Okay.
And said, can you salvage this, please?
Oh,
and
right.
It was unsalvageable. Yeah.
So it was, then the answer is start from scratch with Cavallo.
And some things did carry over and like were changed or redone. I mean, Na Na Na, we have to say Na 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 was the song that kind of set everything off.
Right. Once they're working with Cavallo, he's kind of guiding them like he does, like a good producer does. For context, he did Black Parade, and he also did other huge records like American Idiot and other things as well. I'm blanking right now. I know my producer facts, but
Producer facts.
So they start to. There's another sort of scrapped heap of songs, but then they hit on Na Na Na, and about 4 songs into that attempt, they realized like, hey, we're kind of redoing this album.
I thought Na 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 was like kind of in between or like earlier.
It kind of started the restart.
Okay.
So now they're on attempt 3 and they're finally starting to get it, and it's becoming Danger Days. And we're watching an interview, and I think the most important thing to note here, the thing that really shifted, is I think it was Frank Iero was saying, we were trying to strip it back and just be us. And then on this 3rd attempt, we realized that the big theatrics, the characters, the stories, that is us.
Yeah, there's this whole idea that like, keep it simple and, don't add too much and all this stuff. And yeah, sometimes that's true. And every artist has to sort of figure out what direction and what's right at what time. Mm-hmm. But even Rob Cavallo was like, don't force yourself to write simple rock songs. Like, go for it. Like, do what do what makes you feel the way Black Parade made you feel.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that he was able to come in and do what he does best, which is like guide these bands into being the best they can be. And what we got out of it was my favorite project from the band. And I say project because if you're talking like just music, I'm probably more Black Parade. But this all-encompassing world and aesthetic of Danger Days, that's my favorite thing they've done.
Yeah, we had started to get into MCR, and I was listening to Black Parade a bit, and then you were like, "Oh, Danger Days is really good," and so I listened to it once, and I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not as good as Black Parade." And then you were showing me like, what's the concert that we were watching a lot?
We'll get to this again later. I talk about the tour and the promotion and stuff, but I consider their crowning achievement as a band to be their set at Reading Festival 2011. I mean, I'm obsessed with the notion of like sort of finding, you can sometimes like find a show where it's just like right there, that's the moment. Like they really hit it. And that show is incredible. And I've watched it a million times.
Yeah, so, every once in a while you'll just like put stuff on from that. And, of course it has a lot of Danger Days stuff. And so I really started to appreciate it. And also with just the visuals of it. I don't know, I guess we can get more into that later, what the costumes and stuff were.
I think it's about time we get into it.
Okay, so basically, we're watching the show, and the actual performance it's like perfect. Like this whole show is incredible. But we both just keep being like, has anyone really looked cooler than Gerard Way? I mean, Black Parade, everyone knows the Black Parade outfits. The Danger Days outfit, especially his, is so good.
Underrated.
It's so good. It's kind of simple. It's not as theatrical in a way, but in another way, it's more cartoonish.
Yeah, they look like comic book characters.
Yeah.
And they were comic book characters.
So he's got like this red hair, which you shouldn't be able to pull off. It's like the red, not natural red hair. It's like this red.
And he's pulled off black, he's pulled off blonde, and now he's going into red.
Yeah, he's gonna be Jack White before we know it with every hair color. And he's got this like leather jacket thing, but it's like not full length sleeves. It's like really tight, and the sleeves only go to like the elbow, and there's like a shirt under. And for some reason, that little thing of like the sleeves are kind of shorter.
Yeah,
makes it so much cooler. I don't know what it is.
It is. I think you're right. I think a person has never looked cooler than.
We're maybe hyping this up too much, but for both of us, it's like one of the best band looks ever.
I think it's one of the coolest looks I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So as they're developing Danger Days, the story starts to come together. We're going to kind of give you the gist here because I didn't read the comic books. I'm not like incredibly well versed in this story, but loosely, here's what's going on. It is set in 2019. The record's made, it comes out in 2010. It's set in 2019 in the fictional sort of post-apocalyptic city of Battery City, which is in California. Mm-hmm. It is now kind of a desert wasteland. Mm-hmm. And who rules the land but this fictional evil corporation, which you gotta have.
You gotta have it. It's like a syndicate, probably.
Yeah.
There's always a syndicate.
Always a syndicate. Resident Evil, all these. You gotta have like the evil corporation behind the disaster. And they're called Better Living Industries. They have these guys that are called Draculoids that wear the masks. And My Chemical Romance, the four of them, are kind of playing characters, although they have also said that it's supposed to meant to be them in 2019. Hold on, I gotta pull up the names. I could probably do it off memory, but just in case, we got Gerard Way as Party Poison. We got Ray Toro as Jetstar.
Okay.
We got Frank Iero as Fun Ghoul.
Fun Ghoul.
Which I'm gonna get back to that in just a second because it's amazing. Okay, and Mikey Way, Cobra Kid, who seems to maybe dabble in karate.
Who wouldn't?
As we see in the video for Na Na Na. So, about Fun Ghoul.
Okay, I need to know.
This is a very, very obscure New Jersey reference that you need to know.
Oh.
So Frank's character is named Fun Ghoul, and he wears like a Frankenstein Halloween mask. So Fun Ghoul was a small chain of Halloween costume stores in New Jersey when I was a kid.
So it's like Halloween Spirit or whatever that
Yeah,
store
but like
is,
a local version.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Was it open all the time or just at Halloween?
I think it was open all the time, and it had a couple locations. The store was called Fun Ghoul.
What a bad name for a store, but kind of amazing too.
Kind of a cool name for this like comic book character, though.
Yeah. I wish I could go.
Yeah. So that's the little New Jersey Easter egg here. Now, there's other characters we're introduced to. We got a pirate radio DJ named Dr. Death Defying. There's someone else that's like on roller skates with a motorcycle helmet.
And like a thong over the
like
leggings.
polka dot leggings.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know what their name is. And then there's a little girl. And I guess this little girl has like powers because also you got to have that. You got to have a little girl with powers.
Kid with powers to protect.
To protect, yeah.
Yeah, save the cheerleader, save the world.
Stranger Things, Beyond the Black Rainbow. You got to have a kid with powers that gets taken by a company, you know. It's kind of
Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hagrid.
It's kind of your classic like melding of all these things, and it kind of culminates with this video for Na Na Na, and it was the lead single. It's sort of this mix of like Mad Max meets Flash Gordon and low budget shows like that, laser guns, no actual violence, you know?
Yeah, there's no blood or anything. I think you see someone with kind of like a burned spot.
Yeah, they get burned spots when they get shot with the lasers.
Yeah.
This music video, I think, just sums it all up, why I love this world, this aesthetic, this album so much. It's also my favorite song from the record.
Yeah, I would say so. It's a really fun song. Overall, the album itself is very fun in a way that almost shouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, this shouldn't be cool.
It shouldn't work.
It shouldn't work.
You got the like album or the song name having like all the na 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 na. There's like
it's like hyperbolically like
it's like most of them are parenthetical.
Yeah, there's like I love how planetary go, and it's like parentheses.
Yeah.
Go is in planetary is normal letters. Go is capital. There's parentheses and an exclamation point. And I love that. You know, you think it's like those little touches where it makes it seem more immersive, I guess.
Yeah. Same with Scarecrow. It's all in caps with the slashes.
Yeah.
And, you know, just like Black Parade, they sort of got to a point where they just went for it. Mm-hmm. Why not just go for it? This is what we do. We go all in on it, you know?
I did make a note when I kind of was trying to take notes on the songs, and then at a certain point I was like, there's no really taking notes on individual songs here. It's just like, what is the album? And my note was, if anybody in this band was like 5% less committed to what they were doing, it would not work at all. It's like that close to the line.
It's almost like if, say, you had a drummer that was less committed and sort of unhappy with the direction they were going, you'd kind of boot the drummer.
Okay, is that what happened then?
Pretty much. We're going to end part 1 there. And in part 2, we're going to get into the actual music.
Okay.
Also, like, spoiler alert, all these characters die in the second music video for Sing, but they save the girl. They save her.
Good job. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Roller girl helps, and they save her.
Yeah.
And they drive off into the sunset, happily ever after. Tune in for part 2. We're going to be talking about the actual music, the actual album, Danger Days. And hey, if you like this stuff, stick around, subscribe, tell us what you think so far. And if this goes well, maybe we'll deep dive some of their other albums. All right. We'll see you next time. I'm Joe.
And I'm Stephanie.
Bye.